Hey, hi folks. Can you hear me?
Yep.
No,
Okay, you can't hear me. Are you
there's
alive?
always one.
Is anyone here alive? To which you're all supposed to answer no. Alrighty, I actually don't have anything planned to talk about. So really, today is just if there are any questions. Let me just get my screen set up though. Ba-ba-dee-ba-doo. Okay, there we go. That'll do. Just maybe make it a bit smaller. Yeah, I've had a busy old week this week, and not been able to do anything bat related really. All right, yes. So hi everyone. Not many in this evening. That's fine. Ewan, you're here. Hello. Haven't
Hello.
seen you for a while. How you
I
doing?
remembered.
You made this one, huh?
Yeah, I remembered about
I,
it about a minute ago.
I was up in Inverness, so quite a lot further north than you this week.
Oh, lovely.
And the sun was shining, which was lovely.
It wasn't down here.
Was it not? Yeah. So I was just saying, I really. Oh, what's my volume like, by the way? Is it? Am I too loud? I'm quite keen to get my settings sorted.
You're fine from me.
Good to me.
Okay, I think. So I'm trying to. So one of the things I'm trying to do is get my YouTube streaming audio good as well. So hopefully that you and me are both good now. Alrighty. So yeah. Like, does anyone want to say anything about anything? Preferably to do with the Big Abbott telescope.
Yeah, well, we got So Real and I think Mr. Crazy Physicist who have been doing some processing work on the Hubble Variable Nebula. So I thought maybe they could talk a little bit about what they've done in turn and just kind of share their process and what their finding is.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. And is it worth me bringing up the Hubble's Variable Nebula meeting room?
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe. Oh,
They both posted some processing stuff. So maybe So Real, do you want to start and then we'll do Mr. Crazy Physicist?
Give me 2 minutes, please.
All right, then Mr. Crazy Physicist, do you want to go and take at least 2 minutes?
Okay, we'll try. Yeah, I've processed some of the data, and actually I've thrown everything that we have so far into the processing workflow. And the problem is a little bit that the data obviously is a little bit inconsistent. Yeah, so we have H-alpha data, we have luminance data, we have different setups and different exposure times. So what seemed to work quite well is to stack simply all the data from 1 week and then to homogenize the data a little bit, and then it's more or less comparable without even doing a lot of normalization and stuff like that. So that's quite surprising.
So is that so you'd have one frame per week essentially?
Yeah, so I simply integrated everything from 1 week. I tried to integrate everything from 1 day before, but then the data was really inconsistent.
Awesome.
And that seemed to work quite well.
Brilliant, well done. Did you use the linear fit thing in PixInsight?
Yeah, that works sometimes, and sometimes you have to do that manually with curves transformations. What's also working is this local normalization stuff, I think it's called.
Oh, right.
So that you really define a reference frame and then locally normalize it.
Oh, wow. Okay, I don't know about that. That sounds fantastic. Okay.
But
so,
actually in this animated GIF that you're showing, I have not done anything of that.
Where will
So
I find...
It's that is blinking right there.
Yeah. And if I carry on going up, am I more likely to find how long a sequence do you have now?
If you click
It's
that
actually-
one, yeah, if you click that one, it'll bring it up larger, and then you can see
This
it
one?
animating. No, the one below.
No, this below.
This
That's
one.
a comparison between, yeah.
Keep going. Keep going.
No,
What?
that's by so real.
Keep going.
So,
Keep going. Keep scrolling. There you go.
this one, yeah.
There's that
These
one
are
little shadow artifact that we see moving,
Yeah.
and that's the ones from September, I think, are H alpha, and the ones from October are luminance. Yeah.
In September, I have captured one luminance frame, yeah. But that's actually mixed everything together.
And so, do we think that one? I see there's that one little part in the, I don't know, kind of lower left section where there looks like a little shadow moving. Do we think that that's part of the variability?
Oh, absolutely is. Yeah, for sure.
That's pretty cool.
And you've
I've
also
done a quick-
this. So this is 2 frames essentially. Is this where we're at now? These 2 frames.
Yeah, there are more frames actually because we have more data spread over more weeks. But here you see basically the change very good. So if you add more
Yeah.
frames, it doesn't really benefit at the moment because there's not really changing anything beside the small shadow.
Yeah. Well, that is definitely. It is doing something, and the one on the what's is 10 September 10.
So-
Yeah,
So
9 is September.
9 is so the one on 9 is so really you get a lot of stuff happening right near the sort of core, if you like. So it might be that the one in September 09, the 9th month, is slightly overexposed around the core. Just I know this is all like quite tricky to make everything similar, and obviously the one on September is also noisier as well. But there might also be a bit of something going on near that core. But the on the left is definitely a shadow moving, absolutely. It's such I'm just so busy at the moment. I would love to get my hands dirty as well, but I'm guessing that in comparison with the data that I was using, I'm guessing that, as you say, Mr. Crazy Physicist, there's just a lot of variability. Also, it's very low on the horizon, isn't it, as well, through these months? So hopefully we'll be getting more consistent. I'm not going to say as consistent as the stuff that I had, which was shot in one telescope, but with it rising higher. And presumably the September was also quite a lot of H alpha involved in that one, was it?
Yeah, the September is mostly H alpha, and I'm kind of kicking myself that I didn't take longer integrations. I was just doing like a half hour or something when attacking into my sequences.
So how many people do we have at the moment who are willing to contribute to this?
I think there's about six different people that have submitted data. I've been kind of stoking the channel to make sure that we have people contributing a couple times a week. But based on the movement that we see here, probably once a week, if we have good data, is going to be adequate. Because that movement looks like, maybe just a few pixels over the course of 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I've made a quick calculation. The shadow is moving at the speed of light in a plane perpendicular to the line of sight. I would imagine, or I've calculated that it is moving about 6 arc seconds in 1 month. And in 1 week, it would be about 1.5 arc seconds.
And are you very roughly 1 arc second per pixel, something like that?
Yeah, so the resolution is also not really good because, as you mentioned earlier, it's quite low currently.
Yeah.
So we are really seeing limited at the moment.
All right. Well, I would say well done. Hats off for capturing this shadow, and and well done for processing it as well. I think just the important thing is to really probably announce now what data you'd like from people, so that anyone who's listening and also who ends up watching the video on the YouTube, and who wants to join in and help us with this, then perhaps then they'll know what they need to do. So do you want to, Hatman Jew, do you want to say what you think the data is that we require?
Yeah, I actually want to have a discussion around that, but maybe so Real spent some time processing, so maybe we could give him the floor for a moment to talk about what he did.
Okay, awesome. So Real, are you back?
I'm back. Yeah. That was a long 2 minutes. That was one of my 2 minutes. That was.
Yes.
Anyway, the one that I did. Go on.
We wanted to give you plenty of time.
Me? No, I don't need long. The one that I did was just the HA data, but it was for every single stack for the HA data. I'm looking at it now just to remind myself. So it wasn't on a weekly basis. It was, whatever was presented in the
every few days.
Yeah,
probably.
And I also linear fitted them.
Well done. Yes, that you really have. So just can I just right off the? I should shut up. Really, I just want to say this looks amazing. But yeah, go on.
Do we think? Yeah, I'm looking at that now. Do we think that was variations in seeing, or is there actually something there with the HA data? Is it worth continuing with the HA data, or is it seeing that's causing that? This is what I couldn't figure out.
I don't know. My feeling is that there's something going on there. I'm surprised that there's anything to see in the HA data, but it looks to me like something is happening, as in the. I don't know that, like, seeing, a maximum of 2 arc seconds, isn't it? So that's very roughly 2 pixels. So what you've got going on is more than 2 pixels. Possibly there's something, it might be what kind of thing did you do to bring out a bit more of the definition? What did you do? Wavelets sharpening or something like that?
It was just a bit of sharpening, to be honest. It was just stretched and from doing the linear fit.
So no sharpening.
No, nothing.
No, well, that I think it's very surprisingly. I feel like there's something going on there.
I wanted to get feedback on it before I went through any sharpening processes.
Yeah, well, I don't know. What do the rest of you guys think? I mean, it seems to me, I don't know what it could be, being as we're looking at H alpha. Is this all Hatman Jew's footage?
Quite a bit of Hatman G's. Mr. Crazy Physicist features in there as well. Hatman G, yeah.
So how did you manage to get it? So how did you manage to nail the linear fit so well? So you've managed to get every frame really consistent. Yeah, go on.
An integration. God. Wait, I used an integration of all the frames, I think is what I did.
Yeah.
I'd have to look at my process history.
Right. So you did, I think so that sounds a bit like what I did. You integrated everything that you had to give you a basic sort of, here's the nebula. And then you went through each frame individually and used the frame to brighten or darken various bits of that integrated stack that you had.
There was Mr. Crazy Physicist posted his process and also a very nice mask as well, and a pixel math process. That's how I did it.
Awesome.
And that seemed to work. So I basically just put everything against that master, the linear fit, and then created per frame, one frame per night using the mask.
Yeah.
And then from those frames, I just threw it all into Camtasia, 1 second per frame.
Awesome. Well done.
Yeah.
Mr. Crazy. Yeah, sorry.
Go on, sorry. Go on, go.
Well, no, I was just going to see what Mr. Crazy Physicist thinks of what you've done. Just because I was curious to know, because you mentioned you were using something that he'd instigated.
His process, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it seemed to work. I didn't want to reinvent the wheel when it was working for me.
What, Mr. Crazy Physicist? What's the process that you've helped organize?
Yeah, I simply created a project in PixInsight where I simply compiled all the processes I was using. So as mentioned before, I simply integrated all the data and then replaced with a mask everything that is changing inside the nebula. So that seemed to stabilize the animation a lot.
Yes, and
I'm using a linear fit and also this local normalization. And later on, you can also add HDR processing and sharpening.
Yes,
so that's also
do those last three.
Yes, well, so Mr. Crazy Physicist, the difference between this one and your one is that you are using both H alpha and luminance data. Is that essentially right? Or is there more to it?
And that's basically only the data from August and early September. So this is for every day, and I integrate it over time, over 1 week. So that's basically the difference. I improved the signal-to-noise ratio by stacking on a weekly basis instead of animating every day.
Yeah, okay. And you've ended up with 2 frames. The first frame is noisier, presumably because you had less data. But you're also using luminance and H alpha. So do you think that if we encourage people to shoot for rather than half an hour, but 4 hours in luminance, to get to reduce that noise, do you think you might be able to get something similar to what So Real has got with the H alpha data with luminance? Or do you think that you're still going to need to stack every week, a whole lot for a whole week?
Yeah, in luminance, you obviously have a lot of more data from the continuum. I think the H alpha, we had a discussion about that, also records basically the continuum. That's why you can see the data of the reflection nebula.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, of course, if you have more data, you can improve the signal-to-noise ratio, and it's easier for luminance. But H alpha has other advantages. For example, if you have a lot of light pollution, you can bring down a little bit the background noise maybe, and you can also image in the nautical twilight.
Yes, and that obviously has been very useful with it being so low on the horizon. I actually have a filter.
And I was just going to say also the moon, when the moon comes up, it's probably less affected by the H alpha image is probably less affected by the moon.
Okay, so in this box is something that's better than H alpha. I wonder if I'm going to manage to open it or if I'm going to... because normally something goes wrong. So in here, I believe, is the... Oh yeah, here we go. I haven't opened it yet. I was going to use this for lucky imaging. It's the Astronomik sort of 645 nanometer long pass filter. So it'll get all your H alpha wavelengths and everything longer as well. So something like that. So H alpha obviously is a very narrow patch. I think we think that it's not a H alpha emitting nebula. I think we think it's a reflection nebula. So presumably this would do even better if you're able to get it. It's called a ProPlanet 642 something or other. Yeah. And that would work just as you say, just in this, give you the same benefits as the H alpha, but you get a lot more signal. I think those. So just this is very exciting. I think this is brilliant. I think it's brilliant, and it's even where we're at. It's only going to get better because it's going to be rising higher and higher in the sky. But I'd really love to just tell people what it is they need to shoot when they're shooting this nebula. Hatmandu, do you want to say what that is that we need? Or I mean, I think it's fairly obvious.
I guess
isn't it?
I'd ask. I guess I'd want to. So Mr. Crazy Physicist and So Real have spent time with the data,
Yeah.
and so I guess I'd ask them which.
Yeah.
I mean, we have three options. We can say, please everybody only take luminance. We could say, please everybody only take H alpha, or we could say, let's try to split it or do what you like. So,
Okay.
so if you guys were picking, what do you want us to tell people?
Use what you want. I can also highly recommend it, the IR filter, because I already tested that for lucky imaging. And
did
that
you?
has a very positive effect on the seeing.
Did you use this IR filter?
No, I used the beta one. Beta 168685 nanometer. So
Okay.
it's really comparable, I think.
Yeah, awesome.
The problem is the most of the CMOS cameras are not really sensitive in IR.
No.
So you have to collect more data.
Yeah, they do drop off a bit, don't they?
Unless you have a QHY 900 for 30,000 euros or something like that.
Well,
Okay, so we'll tell people.
well, actually,
take
can
either
I put my tuppence in now?
Yeah.
Because I just think clarity would be good. I think people should get 4 hours of luminance.
Oh, you just cut out.
Oh. Am I here now? Can you hear me now? Can anyone hear me?
I can hear you.
Yep, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. I think it should be like around about 4 hours of luminance. I don't think we should try for H alpha. You can use IR if you're in the city and you want to avoid light pollution or the moon. But I honestly think we should just go for luminance.
I agree.
So, yeah,
I mean, the surface
I'm looking.
brightness is also quite high. So has anyone experienced shooting luminance in Bortle class 8 or 7 or something like that?
I'm in Bortle 9. I shot variable nebula in Loom, and it turned out completely fine. It was visible even in a 3-second plate solve sub with my Newt. It was absurdly bright. And looking at the data here, I can't find that there's any emission. It's entirely reflection. So
Yeah.
I don't think there's any benefit from H alpha. I'd say if I had to personally give my input, I'd say we should either do red filter just to cut down on some of the seeing effects, and the moon, because that would help with both of those things, or like Rory is saying, longer band infrared or luminance.
If essentially is in a sense it's I mean luminance is the simplest probably, and I think we need more data, more like we need as many photons as we can get. I think at the moment getting more photons is more important than reducing the seeing. I appreciate.
So
The reason for that is because the changes in intensity of the shadows aren't necessarily huge. So the more photons we get, the better the contrast in the image and the more chance we have of bringing out these shadows and potentially even the ripples. Yeah, sorry, Jimmy.
yeah, so I think I agree with you. I think though what we really are looking for is signal to noise ratio. And so I think luminance and red are going to be pretty comparable with that, and you're not really losing much because this thing is so absurdly bright that really I think you can get away with cutting out the blue and the green.
So I mean, if I was somewhere dark, I wouldn't agree with that. I'd say that getting the red, green, and blue will get you a lot more photons, and because the difference in brightness in the shadow, even if it's bright, right? We need the difference in brightness between a very bright bit of the nebula and a slightly less bright bit of the nebula to bring out the shadow. So if I was somewhere dark, I would certainly recommend doing full luminance. Possibly if you're in the city and you've got light pollution and stuff like that, then maybe do some of the others, and possibly if there's a full moon, think about using some of the longer wavelengths. That's just my opinion on it. I get that it's bright. It's that we need, say you've got one pixel that fills up to 80% and another pixel that fills up, if you get loads of photons, fills up to 82%, right? It's that difference in 8 pixels is our shadow, right? So even though the pixels are nearly full, the longer you integrate, the more photons you get. Actually, the longer your subs are as well, the bigger that difference potentially is, I think.
So yeah, I think for simplicity, if we just tell everyone to image in luminance, then I think we'll be good. We can kind of see as the data comes in, and if we have to make adjustments, we can. But I think that's probably the most straightforward.
I mean, and if you're somewhere dark, I personally think that's good. If you're somewhere like Jimmy in Bortle 8, then maybe you do want to think about using the longer wavelengths, because potentially, as I think Jimmy was saying, you can, you get a lot of reflection in the green coming off the sky if you're in a city, and blue. And so potentially if you're cutting that out, those, potentially you can increase your signal that way. I don't know. It all depends. Probably Bortle 8 you would, in fact. Anyway, but yeah, for simplicity, luminance, and if you're somewhere in where the light pollution is bad, maybe think about doing something else. But effectively, you're just trying to get the best. We treat your data as if it were luminance, I think. It's a brilliant job, though. Well done, guys. I'm super impressed and super excited to see that there's stuff going on. And I mean, to me, this H alpha looks like there's a little bit of something going on.
But is there enough there on the H alpha to warrant spending time collecting more data on H alpha? That's why I think we should luminance.
No, we're just going to switch to luminance.
No,
we'll just switch to luminance.
No, it's not luminance. Luminance. I think.
So let me just make sure I know where we landed. So we landed. We're going to recommend luminance. I think I don't want to complicate things by asking people to, based on their Bortle, switch filters. Let's just kind of, because I'm in Bortle 8.9 and the luminance seemed fine. And then, like we said, this is pretty bright. So as long as we get 4 to 8 hours a week, it seems like we'll be okay. The one other thing I wanted to talk about is originally we had said we wanted to try to get it twice a week, but it looks like from Mr. Crazy Physicist's data, as long as we get data once a week and we get 4 to 8 hours, maybe we'll make once a week our frame length, and then we just need to get data. Make sure to get data once a week. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, weekly stack.
And I would just say that if someone's shooting it, and if they can, they themselves should get all 4 hours. Or I think that the scope that I was using, it was like, I can't remember, it's like 0.5 meter big or something, and half an hour is okay for that. But with our much smaller scopes, it really does need to be, the integration time does need to be more.
Got it. And then the one last thing I want to bring up, Mr. Crazy Physicist and So Real, maybe you guys could spend some time together and figure out a way to divide and conquer or join forces so that we have one processing methodology, and then if you need help and you have instructions, we could get others to help, or if you have it as a batch, then maybe that's unnecessary. But I'm wondering if you guys could maybe spend time this week and compare notes and just kind of align on like a recommended process.
Yeah, what I said I would do, which I will do, is produce a video on how to process the data, so you can see step by step what to do. But I got too busy with work to finish that, so it'll have to be this weekend, I think. If I talk to Mr. Crazy Physicist as well, probably best for me anyway for the weekend.
Awesome. And if you do a video, we can post it on the Big Amateur Telescope. It's actually changed the name, but the YouTube channel that I'm using, we can post it there, so people can have access to it all the time, and link to it. and that's something I just wanted to mention. Actually, this is across the whole server. In fact, there's the Big Amateur Telescope goes live on a separate YouTube channel that we've got. I've actually just renamed it. This is probably not the best thing to tell the Big Amateur Telescope folks, but I've renamed it. Not the Big Amateur Telescope YouTube channel. I've renamed it the Astro Biscuit Discord server YouTube channel, which is a very catchy title, I know. But but we've got a whole separate playlist called the Big Amateur Telescope, and yeah, if anyone across the whole server is streaming or doing anything, they can just get in touch with me, because we can stream it to that YouTube channel. Or if you're making a video, we can pop it on that YouTube channel, and that way it's there forever. And anyone can, and it just helps, Discord is very transitory, right? It's quite useful having this YouTube channel that we can put things in. So I love the idea, So Real, of you doing a video. That's awesome. It would be really great.
Twitch streaming. I did the Twitch streaming, but it turned into 9-hour marathons. I couldn't deal with it. But what I found really useful was being able to have the recorded video of the Twitch stream, which I could then turn into a video shortened for YouTube. Because nobody's going to watch a 9-hour video, are they, of subs coming in? So I could shorten it and play with it, and that was useful.
Well, absolutely. And just message me if you want. I can give you mod status on that channel. Yeah. And the same goes for anyone actually who's doing things on the server. Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Really exciting and well done.
You get together with Mr. Crazy Physicist and sort something out when he's free.
Yeah. And if
no problem. There's already some workflow, so we can build on that, I think.
Yeah.
If you
need... and there's not any urgency. Like, we have a few months on this, so don't feel pressure to kind of move too quickly when you guys get a chance. It's more important that we're in this for the marathon. I think it's easy to kind of get busy and burnt out, so just pace yourselves.
No, do it all now. No,
I think I'll have to put a video on how to process this, because some of the processes that I used in PI were not things that people use a lot, things like containers, and you don't see a lot of people using those. So you need to show people what to do. If they have PI and they're happy to work with the data that we've got here, they can do it too. They can have a go.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah. It's super powerful, isn't it, actually? PixInsight with those containers, and the other thing that's like containers but with processes, where you can do a whole different... Anyway, we won't talk about that now.
I know what you mean.
But it's fun that you're going down the same path that I went through ages ago, and it's interesting that we seem to be doing similar things and getting great results. So well done. Any more about Hubble's variable nebula before we leave it? All right.
Thanks everybody for contributing. Much appreciated.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's so exciting, and that you're even that something's happening on it as well, and that we're probably the only people on the planet looking at this right now. Is awesome. Really cool. So the chap who runs Hubble's Variable Nebula Facebook page, John Lightfoot, he's not a great Discord person, but I did manage to drag him in. Did he hang around, or did he leave relatively quickly? Did anyone speak with him?
Said hi.
So he's a great person. If you want, I can. Well, should I give you his email? I don't know. You can certainly message him. What was his name on Discord? Anyway, he really is. He really does keep an eye on what's going on with that nebula. He's one of the few people in the world who does. He's not actually an amateur astrophotographer, but he did design a program that some university telescope, I think in Edinburgh, uses for something or other. And he was able to sort of hop on some university telescopes or something every so often and image it. But it's very hit and miss for him. But he's really dedicated. So does anyone remember his name? I should probably just say...
Hand of Kwll. Hand of KWLL.
Hand of Quill, yes. Okay. So, you know, I think it's worth at him. And if you really have a burning question, I can email him. So message me and I'll email him and see if I can get him to come along.
He's obviously used to looking at the data, isn't he?
Yeah, he's done some processing himself, although he doesn't know how to use PixInsight, which is a disadvantage for him. But he knows the nebula very well, and he knows the various crazy things that it does, and yeah. So it's just I'll try and encourage him to come in again. I'll try and encourage him to come to one of these meetings actually. Okay, well done. So, any more topics that we want to discuss while we're here?
Yeah, actually, it'd be cool if we could discuss the solar idea that we were just talking about.
Yeah. So Jimmy's done this amazing. The other day, I think I mentioned it in a status update, and I also posted a link on Facebook, right? Because Jimmy was streaming, and he had a beautiful shot of the sun, and the sun is really kicking off right now. And apparently, Jimmy, correct me if I'm wrong, but after the sun had gone down, something really exciting happened on the sun.
Yeah, about the next 19 hours after I stopped imaging, the thing just went wild, and so. None of us were able to catch it, and I'm not aware of actually anybody that ended up catching any of that, any amateurs anyway.
So the sun, I've actually been meaning to do a video on it. It's been in the back burner for years. I've been waiting for the sun to wake up, right? It's been going through a solar minimum. It's been going through a really strong solar minimum. We've had like hundreds of days of 0 sunspots the last 2 years, probably more. Look up the data, you'll find the more precise value as to how many sunspots we've had, but it's been very few, even more than previous solar minimums. But it's coming out. The sun is waking up, and the video that I want to make is, you know, we've just had a mega low. So how high? What's going to happen now? Was that the quiet before the storm? The sun is now kicking off, and it would be awesome. For instance, yesterday, if we'd had someone in Australia, say, or India, who was able to continue imaging the sun when these crazy things are happening. So, I feel like the Big Amateur Telescope isn't just about lucky imaging now. We seem to be getting broader, and we're trying to do time lapses with Hubble's Variable Nebula. Stefan, who's not here today, is doing. Oh, he is. You're here. Is doing wide field, right? Which is definitely not lucky imaging. We're going deep. I feel like there's room for this sharing data idea to grow, right? The problem that I've got is that I've got like I'm doing a bit of a job at the moment. The corporate people have helped anyway. Blah blah blah. Very very busy. And at the moment, the Big Amateur Telescope is set up as kind of a lucky imaging thing, right? So I don't really have time to realign it. So I was just talking to Jimmy. You know, Jimmy's keen to help set up a channel where we can get people who are interested in solar imaging, preferably from all around the globe, right? So that when something kicks off, we can grab it.
Yeah, the ultimate goal would to be similar to the variable nebula, somebody always looking at the sun at any given time, ready for something to happen. You know, so if we can get plenty of people all around the world, and sufficiently clear skies, which is always the limiting factor.
Well, if we got enough people, someone's going to have a clear sky, aren't they?
Exactly. Yeah, so we just got to expand, got to sell people quarks, and
Yeah.
you know, and do the such. But yeah, so in something like this, you know, Simon and I, we both were kind of trying to do this. We contacted as many people as we knew in Australia to try to see if we could get them to capture it, but we just don't know enough people. We don't have a broad enough reach, and so if we can get something organized, you know, We can just say, hey, Australians, there's some really cool stuff happening right now that we can't get. You need to go image right now.
Yeah.
I think that'd be pretty cool because we missed a solid 19 hours of constant eruption from this spot.
Yeah, and it's so the sun is. I'm just getting more and more fascinated by the sun. I'm just going to say one thing. I didn't know this. I expect many of you did. So people so I work in TV land, right? And people say, we're on a volcano. It's the same temperature as the surface of the sun, right? And it turns out the surface of the sun is not the hottest bit. The actually, as you rise up through the atmosphere, it gets like thousands of degrees hotter, which is just mad. Isn't that crazy? That the surface of the sun is cooler than what's above it. And I just think it's so our understanding of the sun is such an alien environment dominated by magnetism and stuff like that, and the scale of it is just crazy. It's very hard for our little brains to realize how big the sun is. I just think it's super fascinating and active and just does shit. So ultimately, I'd love to have a group who are looking at the sun. It's just sorting it out is the problem. And really, if we want to have a big group doing it, I need to have a video go out that's quite big, that tells like 80,000 people that's what we're doing. That's really what it needs. But Jimmy, what do you? And actually, as a sort of side thought, should we move the Big Amateur Telescope into a separate Discord channel rather than have it on this Discord channel?
We might want to. It depends. It depends on a lot. We certainly need to rework something. Something needs to change because we're getting very, very big with the Big Amateur Telescope, which is a good thing. It's a fantastic thing.
Do you remember that most people don't see the Big Amateur Telescope though? They only see 2 channels. It's not until you've passed the exam that you see.
I mean, we're getting big as a concept, as an idea, not necessarily the amount of channels we have in here. That's not a super big deal.
Anyway, maybe that's for future. But Jimmy, if you, because I'm just so busy, if you're able to set up something, would you want to do it in the Big I think ultimately I'd like it to be part of the Big Amateur Telescope, right? Have that as a sharing thing. But if you were to set up something now, would you want? I mean, you can. Where would you want to do it? Would you want to do it in the main server or?
We can throw it in the Big Amateur Telescope category. It would just be one more channel in there.
All right. So what I'll need to do is I'll need to tweak the watch this first. So people who arrive, they see that we're doing some stuff with variable nebula and we're doing lucky imaging and thick brushstroke and thin brushstroke. I'll tweak it to mention that we're also doing solar and we're also doing wide field. Yeah, I need to do the wide field as well.
Because I keep hearing people not knowing about it.
Yeah, and it's just that I'm very, very. I just have this company that I'm doing some work for. They've delayed me by 3 months, right? And now they want it. Right now, when the YouTuber needs to be most busy to get shit out for Christmas, so I've got like a real monkey on my back at the moment. But yes, all right. I will just do a very simple, just talking straight. I'll just do it very quickly, so at least it says what it is on the tin what it is. Let's make solar imaging part of this as well. Stefan, did you want to make wide field a group as well? You said no to a channel, didn't you? You said the BAT meeting room.
We did, but like so far there wasn't many messages about widefield. That's why I said it's probably not needed, probably not necessary. But if there's like,
it's kind of like which came first, the chicken or the egg, isn't it? Because when we get it set up, and I sort out the beginning, and particularly when it's mentioned in a big YouTube video. then there'll be lots of interest. I mean, it might
Yes.
be setting up a channel actually as a way of advertising it as well.
That's true.
But really, we should start. I think we're hoping to do more live. We did astrophotography question time this Saturday. I'm hoping next Saturday we have like a town hall for the Discord server, and that's the sort of place where it will get mentioned. Although, to be honest, until we do it every week over a number of weeks, then probably the number of people coming to the sort of live town hall AstroBiscuit Discord server thingy will, it'll probably be like 80 or so. Until I think we need to do that kind of thing every week for it to grow, really.
Yeah. Rory, I'm wondering if you would want to make a very, very short, very, very simple video for your main YouTube channel, just as kind of like an announcements. Hey, here's where the servers, or here's where the YouTube channel is going. Here's what we're doing elsewhere, and just kind of a straight announcement video without necessarily a big premise.
Yeah, so I was actually going to do a video about the AstroBiscuit Discord server on my main channel, which would also double pretty much with a few tweaks as the welcome video for people who land on the Discord server. And it would tell everyone stuff like all the cool stuff that's going on here, and it would tell them to click their time zone so that we can alert them without waking them up in the middle of the night, because we know their time zone, and all sorts of stuff like that. And I mean, so we can give people roles that allow the server to, if they're interested in what we're doing, they can see all our Big Amateur Telescope channels, and if they're interested in other stuff, they can say what they're interested in by clicking a few buttons, and those channels will open. So it will be a lot more like a bespoke Discord server for them. It's on the list. I just unfortunately, I'm just every day, including Saturdays, busy for the next 4 or 5 weeks. I know.
Yeah, we can work through something. We can get something going.
Yeah,
I'm sure we'll figure it out.
because I don't tend to put stuff that's not pretty well polished on my main YouTube channel. For better or for worse, I tend not to do, unless it's when I started trying to do the live streaming and I cocked it up twice. All right, so we're gonna have solar imaging, and I can announce it on the main Discord server. And this weekend I'll do a quick intro in our Watch This First that will tell people about solar imaging and wide field. And we'll bring down because we've got a wall of we want people with 6-inch Newtonians or minimum sort of thing. There's that kind of barrier at the moment. We'll bring that barrier down to let more people in so that they can do the wide field and also do the solar. Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Cool. And if just to anybody here, if you do solar imaging or somebody in here that does solar imaging, message me. Get in contact with me, and I'll give you the appropriate role, so that hopefully we can get as many people participating as we can. Immediately.
Can I ask a question?
Rory, about the limits for what we need. I think just tell them if they have a scope around 200 to 300 millimeters focal length, that's just fine, and they just need something that can track without having star trails.
What would it take to convert a Newtonian to a solar thing?
Yeah, actually, so Jimmy said that's a really bad idea because the sun heats up the mirror
Or
and deforms
H-alpha.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some issues with using a Newtonian for.
But I'm trying it, Maria. I'm gonna try it anyway. Because part of my video is doing things as cheap as possible. And I'm using a 90 millimeter, so you can buy pretty cheap refractors that are great with a modified PST, right? But I do want that extra magnification. I know people have managed it with SCTs, I'm not sure whether they've had to use these things called ERFs, rejection
You should.
filters.
Yeah. It's probably best for an SCT.
The mirror itself gets as hot as it would if you were just laying it out in the sun, right? It's where the focus is that gets really hot. Yeah. So it doesn't actually get... The secondary does get a little bit toasty. But I am going to try it. And I was looking recently, actually, because a lot of the heat comes from IR, right? And you can get 150 millimeter, so 15 centimeter square IR filters that let through just about the hydrogen alpha wavelength, right? So an IR cut filter, and it's $350. So it's still for me trying to do everything cheap. It's still a little bit more than I wanted to spend.
And ultimately, that's just an alternative ERF. That's all an ERF is. It's just a big UV-IR filter that slaps on the front of your scope.
The big ones are really expensive, though, aren't they?
Yeah.
Hey, Rory, sorry to butt in. Before you start experimenting with some of your crazy ideas, can you run them through me? Because I'll tell you straight up what's going to blow up and what's not going to blow up. Because I already know. I'm not saying anything because it's kind of like amusing for you to find out, but I do want to give you a heads up with what will happen if you put an SCT and point it at the sun. I already know.
So go on. I don't have an SCT anyway at the moment.
Well, I was actually hoping you were going to be crazy enough to do it, but the secondary, I will tell you this now, will burn. Right. You think it won't, it will burn.
Yeah. So you definitely...
I'd imagine probably pretty similar with the Newt.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the Newt is a different story. What will happen with the Newt is your primary mirror, the coating will start to fail. You won't see it. And then one day you'll be doing something and you'll poke the mirror, and then suddenly that whole fleck will just come off.
Because it's been a bit too toasty.
Yeah, it's actually the UV radiation that is making it come off.
Oh, interesting.
Not the IR.
Yeah, higher energy, I guess.
So usually when you do anything with large apertures, so anything above 150 millimeters or 5-inch or 6-inch or whatever it is the equivalent, you have to have something called an ERF, an energy rejection filter, which mounts at the very front of the telescope. With an SCT, if you want to go full aperture, you have to go dielectric, so it's DERF, DERF as it's more commonly known as. So those are the ones that people tend to use. You can get full aperture, 8-inch, 10-inch, whatever SCTs you want. It's totally doable, but it's just really cost prohibitive, that's all.
Interesting, thanks, mate. What about, so one of the things I was thinking, once upon a time I owned, oh gosh, I'm sorry, apologies everyone. What about like a 4 or 5-inch Mac with for solar?
Again, same problem. The secondary will just literally come off.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to get 120 millimeter refractor then. That's probably my maximum.
You can get some very, very cheap achromatic refractors that perform very well.
Yeah.
Now, hold on 1 second. Hold on a second, Rory. I'm going to go throw you another curveball. If you do want to take apart a Newtonian, or you've got a donor Newt kicking around, and I don't know if you can do this, but if you can strip off the coatings, you can actually do white light imaging with a Newtonian, but you've got to take off that aluminized coating.
Yeah, I do have one actually that could do that, and so, that I could do that with. Yeah, but white light's pretty easy though, because you can just use Barda solar filter, which is great.
Oh, just you wait until you see what a stripped mirror can do.
Really?
I've seen some of the results. Oh, Jesus. I'll try to dig it out. While you guys talk, I'll find the picture for you.
Really? Oh, that is super interesting. All right.
I think you can use that for
Simon.
With a quark or a PST as well.
The thing is, with a PST, you have to be around about f10 apparently, and you also need to have the back focus 20 millimeter. Yeah, 200. That's right. So it's a little bit restrictive in some things.
if you're willing to go modify the hell out of some Newtonian, if you can strip the coding or do whatever, that would actually make for a very, very interesting video, I think.
I wonder. Yeah, but if you strip the coating, it's no good with really, I do want to get as much hydrogen alpha wavelength as I can. Anyway, this is a different topic. Let's get back to the Big Amateur Telescope, even though I'm super interested in this. I'm going to say, Space Cadet, good morning. You're very quiet as always. It's like 6 a.m. 6 a.m. in Australia. Anyway, I'll leave you, but thank you for coming. Anyone else got anything else that they want to talk about to do with the Big Amateur Telescope?
There was one other topic that came up in the channel, which is that we don't have any targets that are not wide field other than Hubble Variable Nebula at the moment. The expiration date or the kind of date of submission is passed on the ones that we had.
What, we don't have any targets? The what you for
non-wide field.
What was surely NGC the one that I get the name wrong, 891, the thing that looks like the Eye of Sauron, that galaxy with the
I think the date said October 25th was the last it was October 25th was the cutoff date listed.
No way.
It's expired, that one, the 891, and I think the 7233 as well, isn't it?
What?
I was wondering. I was going to propose maybe we pick a really dim target that we need lots and lots and lots of data on.
But
Might be interesting.
Hold on, 891 is still going strong. That's just got to be a typo. I mean, it's right above us. And also, I really want that to be amazing, so I want to keep that one going for as long as possible. BAT targets. 891. Where does it say? I did actually write this. Cut-off date, 25th of October. Oh, well, shall I just edit that now? I mean, it's still high, isn't it? I've got it basically. I've got to shoot it. Yeah, I'm shooting it for a video.
Somebody asked about that today, I think.
Yeah, and I haven't. There's not.
I was calling it out. Actually, I think the person is on the channel because he said he was new. It was.
Okay, it's now the
Greg Loggy.
It's now the 25th of November. Basically, there hasn't been a clear, calm night and maybe this is just friggin' UK. There's not been one, where the atmosphere is nice and calm night that I've been able to go out imaging in. And that's the one I wanted to do make the YouTube video about. Yeah. So I've just, someone will have to tell, what's his name? I can't remember his name's Nick. I can't remember his Discord name.
Skilled Spark?
Sorry?
Is it Skilled Spark?
No, not Skilled Spark. Skilled Spark is, I think...
Illusion.
No. He's in charge of the targets anyway. Illusin.
Yeah.
Illusin. He's I'll have to tell him that I've just extended that one by a month. But gosh, yeah, we better get some more ones. There's some awesome targets coming up after all. Are we gonna, for instance, lucky image Orion in H alpha?
In the day.
Yeah. Are we?
Way ahead of you.
I think we should. I mean, it's one of the few targets we can presumably lucky image in H alpha. Be really interesting. See that trapezium. And then people will be getting their magnifying glasses out to see if they can see that weird thing around a star that's supposed to be happening. Yeah. So that should be a target. We'll have to. I'll message Elucin about that. and I mean, basically, there's loads of really cool stuff coming, aren't there, over the next 2 months. We should, if anyone's got any suggestions, why don't we start? Oh, sorry, I was just looking at what Space Cadet said. Why don't you pop suggestions in? Is anyone clever enough to know how we can coagulate suggestions for targets? Or should we just ask people to stick them in the BAT meeting room?
Start a thread, maybe.
Start a thread. Absolutely. Let's start a thread in the BAT meeting room. So, yeah, I'm not going to do it because I can't talk and type at the same time. But if someone's able to start a thread, next targets in the BAT meeting room, that's a very good idea.
Everybody can have a say, can't they? All chime in and give their opinions.
Exactly. And it'll be there for a while. Ewan's done it. Thanks, Ewan. Next target thread. Okay, good. Anyone else? It's 9 o'clock.
The 7331, the cutoff for that was the 10th. Are we
Right.
done with collecting for that?
I think so. I'm really looking forward to getting my hands dirty processing that, actually. We've had some pretty good processes. I think we can go a level further with it. But I don't know. I haven't processed it. That's probably just me.
The
having a
RGB,
big...
but
Yeah.
I posted that image where the luminance went all funny, which I haven't had time to mess with yet.
Yeah, I saw your luminance. I thought it looked pretty good. I know there was funny lines going through it, but I just, I'd just mask them out or something. When there's some erroneous bits of obviously artifacty stuff, I just get erase that section out. I don't worry about it. So I thought your main luminance looked pretty good actually with that.
That was from the RG and B stacks, not from the OSCs.
Yes. And also your but you didn't use the luminance channel itself, did you?
That was just the RG and B.
Yeah, which looked great. And then the luminance channel itself looked good. I could bring it up here probably, couldn't I? If I'm vaguely clever, which is questionable. Oh, and Wompy did a lovely, just reminded me actually, Wompy said he did something rather fancy with the deconvolution on this. Is Wompy here? I did quite want to hear about that. But anyway, your stuff, So Real. So this is the luminance with the artifacts. I'm like, actually, the galaxy itself looks pretty tasty. Those things don't bother me up there. That'll be fine. And this is your just RGB, which is looking very
the first
nice.
one I got a bit tough on the blacks, so the second one I changed it slightly.
Yeah. It's good. It's good. There's some very ready red bits in this core there. Awesome. I think you see. I think this is good. I think when I do a process, it takes me like a day to do it. I haven't had a day to do it properly. I think this NGC7331 is going to be really great. It already is great. I think we can take it just one notch further. Also, if I need to start on AstroBin. I think we need to start putting some of our images on AstroBin. Literally, time is the problem for me right now. But someone did a really great image of that first one we did. Gosh, what is it? The Nebula. The dumbbell. Someone did a really great dumbbell. And I wanted to combine it with another one. I just need to remember who it was. I think it could have been Roland, actually. Is Roland here? No, he's not. I want to combine it with another one, and that's going to be one for AstroBin. NGC7331 is going to be another as soon as we just take it. I think it can go that one notch higher, as I've said.
Definitely.
And then, not particularly picking on you, So Real, either. We've had a few people image it. Oh, that's NG. That's the other one, 891. which I'm really looking forward to. Oh, here we go. Rocks and Roland. Yeah, I thought this one combined with another one would be great for our dumbbell nebula. Anyway, so that's something that needs to get done. I'm very aware, actually, that in the last 2 months, I've done very little to get people to come here. I think the group's really great. It is going to get bigger, particularly when another video goes out and when these images start going out. I mean, look at this. It's just amazing, isn't it? Just absolutely fantastic. And but it's not all about numbers either, is it? I think we've got a really nice community and people working on pushing things forward, which is fantastic. Any more before I start season 3 of The Expanse?
Oh, glad to hear that.
Yes. No one
show,
wants to. No one wants to deny me that pleasure.
No.
You get to season 3.
I'm only just on season 3. I absolutely just did all of season 2 this weekend. I got back from Scotland. I was just zonked, absolutely dead. And I just basically ignored the girls and just watched season 2 of The Expanse. And
That's the way.
How did you get to season 3? Because I fell asleep in episode 1 of season 1.
Yeah, no, you know what,
Oh, how dare you.
Mrs. Biscuit is not a fan because she was not into season 1 that much. It didn't, but season 2 is better.
Where's Cheatham? That's all I need to say.
Jen, don't bloody ruin it for me.
Yeah, I might try again.
Yeah, go to season 2. It gets more fun. Yeah. Anyway, all right. Thank you, everyone. Well done. Really appreciate it. And I'm gonna go. Bye. And,
Have a good one.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
and please, and anyone who's not said anything yet, who fancies just chatting, shooting the breeze, I'm sure there'll be a few people left hanging around here. And do post your targets in the thread, the next target, because Orion is coming and all the goodies along with it. So do put in a good... Maybe we should have one that's pretty unknown, even if it's not a lucky imaging target, like to the left of... Oh, bloody hell. I'll tell you next time. There's a nice dark cloud that looks a bit like a shark. Anyway. All right.
Speaking of Running Man.
No, it's to the left of... What is to the left of Orion? What's to the left of the horse head? M51?
M78.
Right. So to the left of M78 and down a bit. This is how technical I'm being.
Boogeyman Nebula? Is that what you're talking about?
It reminds me of some kind of shark or fish. It's dark though, and just the outer edges are surrounded.
Boogeyman.
The bogeyman.
I have some data on that.
Awesome. Well, that is something that I like. Maybe it's getting a bit too common now. I think a few people have done it. I'll just have a quick look and check that it is the bogeyman. Bogey. Yeah, I think that is it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just in line with Horsehead, Orion, and M78. But yep.
So, but maybe there's something else that we should go for, something that no one is going for. There's something above the Horsehead. It's quite small though. There's a little nebula up there somewhere, I seem to remember.
Yeah, there's some really cool little reflection bits up there.
Anyway, thanks everyone, and I'll see you all next week. And
Expanse.
well done. All right. Cheers. Bye. Bye everyone. Bye.